Superman 2. So Superman 2 follows the story of Superman, played by Christopher Reeve, who foils the plot of terrorists by hurtling their nuclear device into outer space. But the bomb's shockwave frees the Kryptonian villain General Zod and his cohorts, Ursa and Nan, from their imprisonment. Traveling to Earth, they threaten the planet with destruction at the same time that Superman decides to renounce his superpowers in order to live a normal life as Clark Kent with his new love, Lois Lane. So, Superman 2. So, a little story about before we go into the plot of the movie. There was a little tension. So, well, first of all, I should mention is that mention tension. I will be reviewing the original theatrical cut directed by Richard Lester, but I will be comparing and contrasting the two, Richard Lester and the Donner cut. But for now, we're gonna talk about the Richard Lester original cut. So, yes. So, what happened between Richard Lester and Richard Lester? Oh, yeah, Richard Lester and Richard Donner. Donner and Lester. Well, there was some tensions that rose between the original director, Richard Donner, and the producers made a decision to stop filming the sequel. 75% of it had already been completed. And finished the first film. But Donner was controversially fired as the director and was replaced by Lester. Several members of the cast and crew declined to return in the wake of Donner's firing. In order to be officially credited as the director, Lester reshot most of the film, which principal photography resumed back in September 1979 and ended in March 1980. So that's the reason why Richard Lester's directed Superman 2 instead of Richard Donner coming back to direct it. But yeah. So, what is the plot of Superman 2? So, before the destruction of Krypton, criminals General Zod, Ursa, and Nan are sentenced to banishment into the Phantom Zone. Years later, the Phantom Zone is shattered near Earth by the shockwave of a hydrogen bomb thrown from Earth by Superman, which you know from were these French terrorists. So. After landing on the moon and effortlessly killing a team of astronauts exploring there, they continue to Earth and plans to conquer the Earth. Yeah, so they traveled. So General Zod, Ursa, Nan, the three of them went to the moon, and they discovered what's been happening and who freed them, all of that. And when they arrived on Earth, they discover they have powers. So yeah. The Daily Planet it's the chief, Perry White, sends journalist Clark Kent and Lois Lane to Niagara Falls to pose as a newlywed couples. For some kind of story for the planet, and this is the moment that I really loved. I was like, okay. It's where Lois Lane, Clark Kent, his glasses were all foggy, so he couldn't see a thing. So Lois grabbed Clark's glasses and cleans them up, and then she looks up at Clark, and then the music kind of came in, and then Lois's reaction, Lois suspects that Clark and Superman are the same person. Like she looks up at Clark's face, and Clark looks like Superman. Like, I'm glad. I'm glad they put that. I'm glad that that's actually a really smart way for her to find out that they're the same people. So yeah, and then Superman, you know, Lois, that, and also, Clark is always absent whenever Superman appears, and he saved that kid from falling from in the Niagara Falls. So yeah, so she tries to trick Clark, into revealing he's Superman by throwing herself into the falls, but Clark manages to save her without turning into Superman. um, but unfortunately, that same night, Clark trips over a rug and his hands fall into a fireplace. Lois discovers that his hand is unburned, forcing Clark to admit that he is Superman. And I was like, you can't keep this up, Clark. You have to, Lois isn't dumb. She's not stupid. She's not a fool. So you can't keep this up. And he has no choice but to admit to Lois, and only to Lois, that he is Superman. And that's when, like, Lois professes and tells him that she's in love with him. She's in love with him. So yeah, he takes her to the Fortress of Solitude, and shows her the traces of his past, sorted in the crystals. Superman declares his love for Lois and wishes to spend the rest of his life with her. But his mother, Laura, tells him that if he wants to spend the rest of his life with Lois, he has to remove his superpowers. He's gonna be immortal. He's gonna be a human. And but Clark agrees and goes with it. Proceeds with it. He exposes himself to red Kryptonite sunlight, red Kryptonian sunlight. And he's just an ordinary man. And then Clark and Lois, excuse me, they spend the night together, but they leave the fortress, and go to a diner. Oh man, and this is the part where, I saw a truck. That diner scene. I fucking love that diner scene, and we'll talk more. And we're gonna, and the movie will come back to the diner scene at the end of the movie. But man, that diner scene, I really like that asshole of a truck driver. Truck drivers, man, they're so impatient. They're so impatient with their attitude. But yeah, Clark is assaulted by the truck driver. Man. And then that line that Clark tells Lois, like Lois tells Clark, Clark tells Lois, first of all, we should hire a bodyguard to protect us. And then Lois is like, I don't want a bodyguard. I want the man that I fell in love with. And then Clark replied, me too, Lois. I wish you were here. And that line really, that line right there, that one line, I wish he was here, that was painful. That was painful, and a lot of it, and a bit emotional too. I felt sad, for Clark, because now he's bleeding, he's bruised. But anyway, moving on, with the General Zod, they go to Houston. They go to Houston, Texas, first, and then they broadcast themselves to the entire planet, and then they go to the White House and force the and force the President of the United States to surrender on behalf of the planet on international television. And then the President pleads for Superman to save Earth. General Zod demands Superman to come and kneel before Zod. Clark and Lois learn of Zod's conquest, realizing that humanity alone cannot fight Zod. So Clark returns to the fortress and tries to find some way to regain his powers, which he does. So yeah, after finding the crystal, finding the green crystal that was glowing, it wasn't kryptonite. It was just an ordinary crystal. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor and escapes from prison with Eve Tessmacher, but leaves behind Otis. Some people like. I know there are people who like Otis, and that's fine. That's your opinion. But for me, whenever Otis is around, I feel like I'm not watching. I feel like the movie turns into a comedy. It turns into a comedy, it turns into a slapstick comedy, bunch of humor thrown into it. It feels like I'm watching a cartoon. So I'm glad they left Otis behind, because I'm not a fan of him. I'm sorry, but he changes the entire tone of the movie for me. So Luthor and Tessmacher infiltrate the Fortress of Solitude. Before Superman and Lois arrive, Luthor learns Superman's connections to Jor-El and General Zod. He finds Zod at the White House and tells him that Superman is the son of Jor-El, their jailer, and offers to lead them to Superman in exchange for control of Australia. So yeah, Lex Luthor. Oh my god, because that's what Lex Luthor wants. He just wants real estate. Oh man, he just wants to buy a bunch of real estate and buy a bunch of properties for no reason. Because that's evil. Can't we just have Lex Luthor in a movie with his war suit, in his kryptonite armor? I mean, we saw that in Supergirl. I can't believe it took Supergirl to finally have Lex Luthor in his armor. But anyway, the three Kryptonians ally with Luthor and go to the offices of the Daily Planet. Superman arrives, and he says the one line that I love: "General, would you care to step outside?" I was like, oh shit, Superman's back and shit's about to go down. So yeah. So Zod realizes that Superman cares for the humans and takes advantage of this by threatening bystanders. So Superman realizes the only way to stop Zod and the others is to lure them to the fortress. Superman flies off with Zod, Ursa, and Nod in pursuit, kidnapping Lois and taking along Luthor. Upon arrival, Zod declares Luthor has outlived their usefulness and plans to kill both him and Superman. Superman tries to get Luthor to lure the three of them into the chamber. And activates it. However, Luthor crushes Zod's hands and tosses him into the crevice. And Luthor deduces that Superman reconfigured the chamber to expose the trio to red sunlight while Superman was protected from it. So yeah, he switched the chambers so that the light was from the outside instead of inside. So yeah. Non falls into another crevice when flying over, and Lois knocks Ursa into the third. You're a real piece of art or something like that. That's what Lois said, and she sucker punched Ursa in the face. That was great. Superman flies back into civilization, returning Luthor to prison and Lois to home. At the Daily Planet following that day, Clark finds Lois upset about knowing his secret and not being able to open about her true feelings. He kisses her, using his abilities to wipe her mind of her knowledge of the past few days. Later, Clark returns to the diner. We're going back to the diner. Clark returns to the diner and gives the truck driver, that fucking asshole truck driver, a piece, and humiliates him and give him a piece of revenge. Superman restores the damage done by Zod, replacing the flag on top of the White House, and tells the president he will not abandon his duty again. And that's pretty much the plot of Superman 2. So going into this movie, we did get to see General Zod and his cohorts. They made a cameo in the first Superman movie. They were sent into the Phantom Zone by General Zod, and now they've returned. So yeah. Just General Zod, Terence Stamp as General Zod. He is, he is just so amazing. Like, I love General Zod as, Terence Stamp as General Zod, and like it's like the way in his voice, like the way it's just everything about him. I think it's just amazing and great. His cohorts, on the other hand, Nan is just a muscle. He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk at all. He's just there as muscle. He's just the muscle, and Ursa is just the beauty. She's just the beauty. She's just the beautiful but deadly. But she's just the beautiful and dangerous Kryptonian. Nan is just the muscle. But the real strategist, the real mind, is that of General Zod. So yeah. So, going to the Witcher Donna cut. So, going to let's see here. I have my notes. I've written all my notes up here. Okay, here we go. The Witcher Donna cut. So, during the production, the production of Warner Brothers, excuse me, I'm doing the production of Superman Returns. So back in 2006, Warner Brothers acquired the rights from Marlon Brando's estate to use the late actor's footage from Superman into the film. So yeah, and then they used a bunch of unused Brando's footage. So they all confirm. So despite some confusion, they all confirmed that the footage shot by Donner in 1977 was recovered and transferred from a vault in England. So the new edition, titled Superman 2: The Richard Donner Cut, in order to make Donner's vision of Superman 2 feel less incomplete, finished scenes by Lester that Donner was unable to shoot were incorporated into the film, as well as the screen test by Reeve and Kidder for one pivotal scene. The film also restores several cut scenes, including Marlon Brando as Jor-El, an alternate prologue and opening sequence at the Daily Planet that omits the Eiffel Tower opening from the original, as well as the original scripted and filmed ending for Superman 2, featuring Superman reversing time before it was cut and placed at the end of the first film. So from what I can remember from the Richard Donner cut, because I've seen the Richard Donner cut a bunch of times. This is my first time, ladies and gentlemen, that I've seen the original theatrical cut from Richard Lester. This is my first time, because all the other times, like in the past, I've only seen the Richard Donner cut, and I don't. Yeah, it doesn't have the Eiffel Tower scenes. It doesn't have the. It also doesn't have. I don't think it. From what I can remember, it doesn't have the romantic Superman Clark and Lois going into the what is it? Going into the hotel room, that little romantic couple hotel room. So yeah, it didn't have that, but yeah, it also had as I just said, as I just read from my notes, it also has the Superman reversing the time. So yeah, and also brought back Marlon Brando as Jor-El. Where in this movie it's his mother Laura. So yeah, so the Richard Donner cut and the original cut, which one is better? Which one do I think is better? I believe the Richard Donner cut. I mean, I believe the Richard Donner cut is much better because, as like I said, it restored some scenes, but also it just makes. But also those scenes that were restored in his cut, in Donner's cut, they actually improved, in my opinion, they improved the story of the movie, which is why I prefer the Richard Donner cut, because it's much better and a huge improvement from the original theatrical cut. So definitely, if you want to watch, if you, you can watch either one, but if you want my opinion, you guys should definitely watch the Richard Donner cut. It's much better. It's definitely a huge improvement. So yeah, that is all I have to say for Superman 2. Just amazing. I just love this movie. This is like Superman. Superman was a good movie. Superman 2 is a great movie. It's amazing. It's a great movie. I love this movie. But unfortunately, the next movie down the line is going to tip the entire franchise downhill. And I'm talking about Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. So stay tuned for that movie review. So please comment, subscribe, like, and also share this video with your friends and family. And I will see you in my next video.